Drew Barrymore first attracted notice as a very young actress with a very famous last name. This morning, she's in conversation with Lee Cowan, talking about her very own TV talk show.
For once, I found myself in someone else's interview chair.
I don't know whether if you're interviewing me or I'm interviewing you. I'm not really sure.
And hopefully we'll never know because it will be an unguarded, respectful conversation.
Please welcome Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore is all about conversation these days.
Oh my God!
Starting tomorrow, she'll be doing a lot of it, debuting her very own talk show on CBS.
Here we go, everybody.
From a studio just down the hall from ours.
Welcome to our set, Lee.
This is 3 sets.
We were a little envious. Her studio is a lot bigger. She even has her own kitchen.
Are you a cook, though?
I am,
Yeah?
but I'm not like sexy and cute and cool while I cook. I look like...
As you might imagine, launching a talk show during a pandemic is hardly optimal. Her planned studio audience has been replaced with a virtual one. And for guests who can't sit with Drew in person, thanks to the magic of television, they can appear to be sitting there anyway, in 3D, from a studio on the other side of the country.
We've gone through so many moments since filming the pilot a year ago that this show probably wasn't likely going to happen.
I never knew we would be launching a talk show at the same time no one will come out to go to a talk show.
Oddly, all the challenges, she says, just might have made the show better. She's not hiding from this awful year. Instead, she's meeting it head-on with what she calls intelligent optimism.
I'm not a total Pollyanna. I get that there is a huge divide. I don't want to pretend that there isn't, but I would rather find the things we have in common than harp on our differences.
Talk shows are certainly in her wheelhouse.
I've been waiting all my life to meet you, and I found you on this show.
Of your whole life.
Her first appearance was at age 7 on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson.
It would be kind of easier to talk without my teeth.
What are you talking about?
As she grew, so did her talk show acumen. She always knew how to make the stage her own. David Letterman probably still hasn't forgotten that.
I think if there's one thing I've learned in a very long life in front of people is there is a line. There is TMI. And I kind of know what that line is, and it's a feeling.
Have you talked to David Letterman or Jimmy Fallon or anybody about, how do you do this and what's the secret sauce?
All of the above, actually, yes.
Is there one thread of advice that they all have that's the same?
They all say pace yourself, which of course I in my stubbornness was like, I've been working since I was 11 months old. You don't even know my work ethic.
Hot chocolate chips have a magical way.
TV commercials came before she could even talk, but it was a scream that got her noticed. Her role as Gertie, opposite the world's cutest alien, made her a galactic sensation.
E.T., phone home.
Problem was, she was just as cute as E.T. himself, and for a while, that's all anyone wanted to talk about.
Is there one thing you've never been asked about E.T.?
It's been a while since people have brought up E.T. One minute you're like, I'm never gonna not be E.T., and then all of a sudden it's 38 years ago, and you're like, E.T.
When she did emerge from E.T.'s shadow, she was no longer that innocent little girl. Drew largely skipped childhood, turning to drugs, drinking, there was rehab, even attempted suicide. She lived a lifetime before she was 14, when she was legally emancipated from her abusive alcoholic father and her troubled manager mother.
When you look back at those days in court when you were emancipated, do you see an adult there?
I see someone who knew that I probably was all I had. So it was like, you figure it out, or, you're gonna go the way of the cliche, as they say.
It was preordained, if you believe bloodlines carry a storyline too. The Barrymores were a hard-partying Hollywood dynasty. She's the great niece of Lionel and Ethel Barrymore, and her grandfather was the great John Barrymore, all with reputations that Drew knew all too well.
Hey, come on, can I get you a glass of milk, honey?
Milk? I'm a Barrymore. Get me a drink and make it a double.
I pushed the limits a lot, many different times in my life. And I'm very lucky. I know that. I tested, I pushed, probably too far, many a time, but
you always came back to the center somewhere.
I at least tried to meet that blessing with having learned something.
She rebounded, starring in film after film.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
About one a year for a while, sometimes two.
Right now, I feel like I'm doomed to wander the planet alone forever.
Kind of like the Incredible Hulk, huh?
Yeah.
Comedy was her specialty.
Good morning.
When she was only 20, she co-founded her own production company, Flower Films.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
Which soon had her starring in and producing films like Charlie's Angels. She dove into business, too, with a successful cosmetics line, Flower Beauty, and more recently, a furniture and clothing line as well.
I've also had my career go away at like 13. I mean, if that doesn't give you some perspective and gratitude for every job you get, nothing will. I'm like, I am working. This is amazing.
All of it while raising her two young girls, Olive and Frankie, whom she had with ex-husband Will Kopelman.
I want to be all about, the pillars of appropriateness and decorum. And I don't lie to my kids. I'm like, I had to find my way here. So, yeah. I've lived a lot of different lives, and this is what's important to me now. But my kids have inspired me to be the best person I have ever been in my life. And I thank them every single day for that.
She knows daytime is a crowded time slot. Talk shows come and go, after all. But if Drew Barrymore has proven anything in her 45 years, it's that her superpower is her staying power.
I know I'm making this show for other people, so whether they're right here in this room or watching, hopefully, somewhere, then this is for them, for sure. I'm not doing this for myself.